Black Hearts in Battersea by Joan Aiken, Chapter 17. Is my coronet on straight, Sophie? Are my gloves properly buttoned? These diamond buttons stick to... Sorry, this is the Duchess talking. Is my coronet on straight, Sophie? Are my gloves properly buttoned? These diamond buttons stick so. Come on, Hetty, there's no time to waste. I can hear the cheers. His Majesty will be here at any moment. The Duke took his wife's arm and fairly ran her down the stairs. Sophie and Dr. Field followed protectively near. As yet, nobody had noticed them. The castle servants appeared to be in a state of disorganization, all milling about downstairs. Neither Midwink nor Fibbins had appeared to help their graces. As they descended, Buckle's voice could be heard below, giving orders to a large number of people. You all know what you are here to do. Every soul to be out at 8:30, after the fanfare and the dinner. Disperse. Each carry something. Midwink, take charge of the jewels, Scrimshaw the plate. Good evening, Mr. Buckle, the Duke said. Are the arrangements for His Majesty's reception all complete? Buckle whipped around. For an instant an ugly expression came over his face, but this was rapidly replaced by his usual pale-eyed, impassive stare. Quite ready, Your Grace, he replied smoothly. I am glad to welcome Your Graces back to Battersea. Well, you won't be when you hear our news, the Duke snapped. We know that you're a damned scoundrel who palmed off your own whey-faced brat in place of my nephew and niece and tried to murder me 3 times, but your crimes have caught up with you, and I shall be surprised if you don't end your days in the Tower, you rogue. The Bow Street men and the yeomanry are on their way now. We don't want any unpleasant scenes at present, but as soon as His Majesty is left, you'll be arrested. Mr. Buckle's eyes flashed, but he replied in a low, even tone, Your Grace is mistaken. I intend to amend my ways. I see my faults. I am truly sorry, and in future Your Grace will have nothing to complain of. Well, said the Duke, a little mollified, if you are truly sorry... William, exclaimed the scandalized Duchess, don't believe a word the hypocrite says. I'm sure he has not the least intention. Hark, interposed Sophie. Here is His Majesty. I can hear the fanfare and the students cheering. Indeed, as the royal sleigh left the frozen Thames, along which it had sped from Hampton Court and crossed the short snowy stretch of park to the castle, the assembled students burst into loyal shouts. Hooray for Jamie III! Long live King Jim! Good luck to him! Yoicks, Your Majesty! The Duke and Duchess, with Sophie behind them, ran down the red-carpeted steps of the castle to greet His Majesty, while the students formed a ring with snowballs and horse-chestnuts, kept the inquisitive wolves from coming too close. Sire, this is a happy day. We are so pleased to welcome you to our humble roof. Oh, queer new, Battersea. It's nice to hear that. And who's your good lady? The king was a little dapper, elderly Scottish gentleman, plainly dressed in black, with a shovel hat on top of his snuff-colored wig. He carried a slender hooked cane and a large black bird perched on his wrist, which, at the sight of the Duchess, opened its beak and gravely remarked, What's your wool, my bonny hinny? Mercy on us, exclaimed her Grace. Where did Your Majesty get that heathen bird? Why, ma'am, the Sultan of Zanzibar gave her to me for a Christmas present, and I find her a great convenience, don't I, Jinny, my lass? And there's a wheen Hanoverians. For there's a wheen Hanoverians, I trying to slip a wee drop of poison into my victuals, so I employ Jinny as a taster. She takes a nip of browse and a nibble of partridge, and as soon as the poisoned meat sorted. Not that I mean to decry your hospitality, ma'am, but one must be careful. Why, yes, indeed one must. The flustered Duchess then pulled herself together and graciously invited His Majesty to do himself the trouble of stepping into the banqueting hall. Sophie, following, noticed a pale gleam in Buckle's eyes, and thought he looked as if he meant mischief. She wished the Bow Street runners would come, or the yeomanry. Surely it must be nearly an hour since they parted from Simon. What could have happened? She could see that Dr. Field shared her worry, for he kept glancing at his watch. What time is it? She whispered to him when a dour-faced female, Aunt Tinty, had she but known it, brought in the mince pies with flaming prune brandy poured all over them. 20 minutes to 5, he whispered back. Where the devil can that boy have got with the yeomanry? Will you have a mince pie, Your Majesty? Nah, thank you, Duchess. They play the very deuce with my digestion. But Jeanie will, won't you, lass? Jeanie ate several mince pies, with every appearance of satisfaction, smacking her beak over the prune brandy. "Are they safe?" Dr. Field whispered to Sophie. "I brought them from Chipping's," she whispered back. "I wouldn't trust the mince pies Mr. Buckle had provided." Even so, none of the party save Jeanie felt inclined to sample the mince pies. She, after her fourth, perhaps because of the prune brandy, suddenly became overexcited, flew around the banqueting hall twice, pecked Mr. Buckle on the ear, and disappeared through a small open window. "Jeanie, come back, lass!" cried her master, starting up. "A gold guinea to the man who catches her!" None of the footmen seemed moved by this appeal. They stood motionless, and one or two of them sniggered. Sophie felt ready to sink with shame, but Dr. Field went to his window and shouted to the students outside, "His Majesty offers a gold guinea to the person who brings back his pet bird." A tremendous cheer went up, and the sound of many running feet could be heard, accompanied by cries of hope and disappointment. "Shall we adjourn to the library for coffee?" the Duke suggested. "I believe, later on, we are to see some fireworks." The party began moving up the stairs. "I dare say one of the students will soon bring back your bird," the Duke was going on comfortably, when suddenly the most astonishing hubbub, shouts, shots, and crashes broke out downstairs by the main doors. "Gracious heavens!" cried the Duchess in alarm. "What can be going on?" A somewhat bedraggled Gus burst through the castle doors and came charging up the stairs. His hair stood on end, one eye was blacked, and his face was covered by what looked like peck marks, but he held the squawking Jeanie triumphantly in both hands. "Here you are, your Majesty," he panted, "and I wish you joy of her. She's a Tartar, but sir and ma'am and your Majesty, I don't think you should stay here. I don't indeed. Those villains downstairs are up to tricks, I believe. I had the devil's own job to get in. They were all massed about the hall with pikes and pick-clobbers. The sooner you are all out of the castle, the better it will be, in my opinion." "Oh, dear, oh, William," lamented the Duchess. "We should never have let His Majesty come here." "Nonsense, Hetty. The yeomanry will be here directly. All we need do is keep calm and retire to the library till it all blows over." "Let us go higher up. That noise terrifies me. It sounds as if they are all fighting each other before coming up to murder us." "What does His Majesty say?" His Majesty had been busy settling Jeanie's ruffled plumes, and politely affecting to be unaware of his host's problems. Appealed to, he said amiably, "Och, let us go higher up by all means. Did you not say there were to be fireworks? The higher up, the better view." I winna say nay to a wee dram," remarked Jeanie unexpectedly. "Hush, ye ill-mannered bird. Lead the way upstairs.